Today, we will speak on a very interesting and useful topic. The topic is called the 5 habits of a successful person, or we can call it the 5 habits of a successful pendeta. Now, this series or this course is taken or adapted from a very well-known book called The 7 Habits of a Highly Effective Person by a writer called Stephen Covey. Now, this book has sold about over 25 million copies, translated into 30 to 40 languages, including Bahasa Indonesia. Stephen Covey is not a Protestant like us, but the principles are biblical. He has 7 habits. I have adapted it to 5 important habits. Now, what's the difference between a habit and a skill or a tactic? A habit is something that you and I do automatically. Something we think automatically, or we behave in that way automatically because we have spent time developing that habit. For example, we as Asians, when we see an older person, our habit is to, in our mind, is show respect. He is older than us. It's something we developed as a child. Our parents told us, respect older people is good. So when we were young, we didn't know how to do it, but as we grew up, we learned to respect older people, all right? So this is just something you develop. It's like a child brushing teeth. The first time you tell a child to brush teeth, he doesn't do it, he forgets to do it. But today, we as adults, we wake up in the morning and automatically, nobody needs to tell us, our behavior is go straight there, brush our teeth, all right? So these are habits we develop. It becomes part of our life, right? And it makes us better people, more respectful, better hygiene. People will talk to us because we don't have bad breath. We become more successful with good habits. But habits take time to develop. Let's take the COVID pandemic. In the COVID pandemic, one of the things we're told is to wash our hands. All right, how do we develop a habit? How does the government help us to develop this habit of washing our hands? There are 3 things we need to understand to make sure a habit is developed. The first thing is knowledge. So the government will tell you that if you don't wash your hands, there could be virus on your hands. You rub your nose, you rub your eyes or your mouth, and the virus will enter and give you COVID-19. So you have knowledge that virus can exist on your fingers and it can then be passed into your body. That's knowledge. Second thing to develop a habit is then you need to have a skill. Little children, you ask them to wash their hands, they don't know how to wash it properly. They put the soap and then they let the water run and all the soap is gone. So the government will tell you, to wash your hands effectively, you need to put soap on your hands and rub your hands for at least 20 seconds to make sure all the virus is killed by the soap. All right? So that's a skill. And children don't know how to do it, You tell them to wash, after 3 seconds, they let the water wash off the soap, and it's wasting time, all right? So they don't have the skill. Then the third thing to develop a habit is desire. I don't want to die from COVID. I saw my Grandmother died from COVID. Oh no, I don't want to die, please. That's a desire. So when you have the knowledge that you need to wash hands, you have the skill to wash it properly, and then a desire not to die from COVID, then with these three, you will develop a new habit of hand washing. All right. So it takes time. On the average, it takes most people months to develop this hand washing habit. COVID has been around for 9 months, 1 year almost, and many people still don't have the habit. So you see, understand, habits take time to develop. But when you develop this habit of hand washing, the chances of you getting infected with COVID by your own hands becomes much less. You become successful. You're not likely to die, okay? So you understand, to have good habits makes you successful, right? So I have now adapted Stephen Covey's 7 habits to 5 habits. What are the 5 habits? Number 1, be proactive. Number 2 is to have clear goals. Number 3 is to manage your time properly. Number 4 is to think win-win. And number 5 is to learn to listen and understand before we speak, right? Just 5 simple habits. And I am confident that if you develop these habits, it's not going to take you 1 week, not after this seminar, but if you develop these habits, you will be a successful man, successful husband or wife, successful father or mother, successful pendeta, maybe one day a successful divorce, because you have become highly successful simply because you have the right habits of life, okay? And I am confident these are good habits all of us should develop. So let's begin with the first habit of being proactive. What is the meaning of being proactive? Proactive means the opposite of reactive. What is reactive? All right? We are all naturally reactive persons. All right? When something happens to us, we immediately react, okay, without thinking. Okay, for example, I give you a very simple example. Today is you go out and it's very hot. Almost immediately you will react and you will complain and say, why is it so hot today? Ayyo, very hot today. That's our natural sinful nature. Remember, the Bible warns us in Philippians chapter 2, it tells us very clearly in verse 14 that we must do all things without complaining. But complaining is a very natural behavior or habit of a sinful person. We just complain automatically, right? So if you have this bad habit of just complaining when things are not going your way, things are not happening the way you like it, you just complain, right? That is a reactive person. A proactive person makes a choice. He says, the Bible tells me in Philippians chapter 2, verse 14, do all things without complaining. So I'm not going to complain. I'm going to do something about it. So when it's very hot, I will look for an umbrella. Okay? If I go out, I use an umbrella. So what have I done? I'm now not reactive because even if I complain about the sun and the weather, I cannot change it. I'm not God. I cannot change the weather. Right? So what's the point of complaining? It's not going to make the weather cooler. In fact, when I complain, I feel more angry and more hot. So I look for an umbrella. If I'm in the room and it's very hot, I take a fan and fan myself. Okay? That is a proactive person. Okay? So we realize that for most of us, our habit is to be reactive. Now, you see, humans are given a choice as opposed to animals. Animals react automatically. They do not have what we call a choice or a will. Now, humans are given a choice to do right or to do wrong. They can choose. I give you an example. If you see an animal, let's say a lion, okay, and you walk to the lion and then you try to avoid it by mistake, you step on the lion's tail, you hurt the lion. What do you think the lion would do to you? He would turn around and just bite you. Simple as that. That's how he automatically reacts. But a human is quite different. Let's say the president of Indonesia accidentally steps on my foot. I don't straight away punch him. I don't. I have a choice. I have to say, bodoh. That's the reaction. Kenapa? Or I can say, it's okay, Mr. President. You see, when I saw the president accidentally, it's very crowded, he steps on my foot, and I realize he's the president of Indonesia, I have to make a choice. Do I get angry? Or do I say, sir, no problem, sir, all right? You see, as a human being, we are given choices to choose or to reject, right? Just like the gospel, we're given a choice. God allows us to have a choice. So, as a human, we make choices to be proactive. Hot sun, umbrella, fan, not complain. I choose to do that. Okay? So you will notice when you go out with your friends, they mostly react. They complain about the pandemic. What can you do about the pandemic? You can't change the virus. They complain about the government in Jakarta. You can't change that. They complain about the APIIS. You can't change the APIIS. It's beyond your control. So what do? A proactive person realizes there are two circles. Look at the diagram, two circles. The blue on the outside speaks of the area that affects us, but we have no control over it, like the sun, the government, the pandemic. The white area speaks about areas where we have control over. Right? I can take an umbrella, I can take a fan, right? For my government, I can pray for my president to make right choices. For the pandemic, I can pray, God, please protect us from the pandemic. That's my area of influence. That's what I can do. So I do that, right? So a proactive person, his area of white is a lot. His area of blue is very thin, all right? For a reactive person, his area of blue is very thick. He's squashed by the blue, all right? Because he doesn't use the area, the white area, the area of influence. Okay, so for you, how does this apply to you as a habit? Every time you have something you don't like happening to you. For example, maybe your spouse, your wife, or your husband, you're a pendeta, they don't understand your ministry. They wonder why you do this, why you do that. Don't spend enough time with them, maybe, for example. So what do? Area of influence. Try to make more time for them. Try to help them to understand why you needed to visit this person or do this thing. So you pray, you explain, right? You spend time with them. These are your areas of influence. You can pray, right? You can explain, right? You can watch less TV and spend more time with your wife, right? You can do that, all right? So this is how a proactive person would live his life. He wants to use the white and expand the white area and make the blue area very thin. He feels got more space there. not like the guy squashed by the blue area, right? So be proactive. Always see what you can do and do it. Don't spend time complaining about the things you have no control over. Most people live in the reactive zone. Just go out and talk to your friends and you hear they complain about this, complain about this, complain about this. And then you hear they hardly do anything to solve the problem. Even the little things they don't do, right? So that's number one. Number two, habit is to have clear goals, all right? Having clear goals is very important. If you don't have a clear goal, you usually don't arrive at the place. Example, I ask you, where are you going? You say, I am going to Midan, all right? Now, if you know where you're going, sooner or later, whether you walk, whether you take a sepeda motor, all right, or whether you fly, you will get there, all right? Because you have a clear goal. You made a clear goal, you arrive. If I ask you where you're going, you said, somewhere. Which kota? One kota, somewhere, you will never arrive at the right place because you don't know where you're going, okay? So if you have clear goals in your life, you are likely to be a successful man. The goal is something a bit jauh, a bit far, not immediate. Immediate, we usually think about it like, all right, what I'm going to eat now, you probably will go to the kitchen and fry your eggs and eat or your nasi, right? I'm talking about something a bit further, and most of us don't. Let's just take an example, right? What is your goal for your marriage? Think about at the end, 50 years from now, how do you want your marriage to be? You want to have a happy time with your wife. You can sit down with your wife, your husband, you can chat and enjoy conversation. You can hold his hand, you can hold your hand. Do you want that? Then what do you do now? Okay. To reach that goal, that you will have a happy marriage, you need to spend time with your spouse. You need to build relationships, understanding, all right? You need to be in reasonably good health. Otherwise, one of you will have high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke. When you're old and instead of holding hands, you will go to the hospital to visit him. So your goal is, okay, 50 years from now, when I am 70 years old, what would I want in my marriage? We can jalan-jalan, so I need to be in reasonably good health. I better don't get too fat, too much diabetes. I better jaga my weight, jaga my health a little bit. We better spend time talking to each other, understanding each other. So by 50 years at the end, wow, we will arrive at that happy moment. We can enjoy our life right to the end of our life. What about your goal as a pendeta? You're given 5 years in this new place. What goal do you have when you arrive? Clear picture. Have a clear picture. Just like you'll see yourself 50 years. Oh, my wife and I jalan-jalan. Hair a bit white already, but we still quite healthy. We can laugh. We can go to the kedai kopi, minum kopi, and laugh together, and then go for a walk. Nice. I like that picture, and I will go for that. All right. Same with your ministry. You say 5 years here. What do I want at the end of these 5 years? Right? Do I want a wonderful church that is alive? I want wonderful relationships with all my sintuas and my and my members. Okay. I want all this. I can picture this church. Now I just arrived. I picture this church in 5 years' time. Wow, more united, more excited of coming to church. Love to hear the sermon. love one another, help one another, love their pendeta. Wow. Love their church. Wow. Then you picture that picture, clear goal. Then you say how to get there. You see, when you have a clear goal, you usually will make the steps to arrive there. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a clear goal of going for a holiday with your family. All your family wanted to go to Singapore, right? And then you have a clear goal. Okay, 2023, after the pandemic, we are all going to Singapore for a nice holiday. We need a break. So you have a clear picture, that all of you have a clear picture, right? Singapore. Mahal, Singapore. So I think I need to save a little bit of money. Oh, tickets will be very expensive in 2023. Everybody wants to travel after the pandemic. I better save more money and then save it a bit early, then I can buy promotion ticket cheaper. Oh, if everybody is going to go in 2023, getting passport susah at the time. Passport office very busy. I better plan a bit earlier before 2023. Get my passport when nobody is getting. So when you have a clear goal, 2023, going to Singapore, then you have a clear goal, you have better plans. And the chances are when 2023 comes, pandemic is over, you will be in Singapore with your family enjoying a holiday because you got a cheap ticket, the passport is ready, all right? You save enough money to enjoy Singapore, all right? If you don't have this clear picture, if you just said you are like a typical person, you say, 2023, hopefully we can go on a holiday. So tired, pandemic, cannot keluar. Let's hope we can go on holiday. We don't say where, you don't clear in your mind, then you don't save money, you don't prepare. And then when 2023 comes, pandemic is over, no, you don't have savings, you didn't buy the promotion ticket, you don't have passport. Then how? Where do we go? Susah lah. Tiket sudah jual, everything tak, no more lah. Pergi mana? Pergi Samosir lah. Duh, Pak. Papa, we went Samosir 5 kali already. I've been too many times, Papa. What to do? Too late. You didn't have a clear goal. You never reach your goal. All right? So, do you have a clear goal for what you will look like 50 years from now? 30 years from now, 40 years from now when you retire? Will you be sick? No savings? You and your wife never talk? Don't understand each other? No time for each other all these years? Oh no. Is that what you want? Well, that's what you'll get if you don't have a clear plan. How about ministry? When you enter the church, you know in 5 years you'll be moved on. You have a clear goal. What will your church be like? Wow, I want to have a united church. So what do you need to do now? Start building relationships. I want to have good relationships with my Sintua, so we'll be united to lead this church. Wow, I start having coffee with them, respecting them, meeting them, teaching the Sintuas, special Sintua sessions. All right. So, preparing good sermons, so studying my Bible so the people will love to come to church. See, when you have that goal of what your church is going to be like, good chance you will arrive there. Right? Whether your goal is a happy marriage, holiday in Singapore, or a wonderful 5 years in your church. You decide. No goal, no clear goal, you don't arrive. Okay? So a successful person has a clear picture, like televisi in his mind. I'm old, my wife is old, I can picture us jalan-jalan, walking happily with retirement pension already, but we are laughing and healthy and enjoying our children and enjoying our marriage. Wow, nice, nice, nice. All right. Successful man. Okay. Third important habit is time management. To get these goals like a happy marriage, a successful ministry, a successful holiday in Singapore, you have to manage things, all right? So time management, okay? I want to have time with my wife. How do I have time with my wife so that when I'm old, we can enjoy talking together? If young, she feels unhappy with me, I have no time for my wife, you know, then by the time we are old, we are always like, quarreling with one another. How do I do that? Time is short. Everyone, every day, only 24 hours. Whether you are a king, whether you are a president, whether you are a beggar, everybody has 24 hours. So you have to manage your time. How do you manage time? You only got 24 hours. Prioritas. You need to prioritize your time. Let me tell you how we waste time, all right? Most of our time is wasted away by what I call urgent but not important things. Okay, what do you mean by urgent and not important? We live with this thing called a cell phone. For many of us, our cell phone has a notification. Ding, 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 ding. All right, sometimes different sounds, different bunyi, but it keeps ringing all the time. Right. So every time it rings, maybe your kawan from Facebook post something or what, or Instagram, you will look at your phone and then you read more. Okay. So you will find that a lot of the time, instead of talking to your wife, this thing is ding, ding, or you're talking to your sintua, ding, ding, instead of having time with him. This thing is disturbing you with useless things. You are spending precious time on unimportant things, right? So what you need to do is learn that though it thinks, it is not necessarily important. It's urgent because if it's ting, if you don't answer ting, 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 can't tell you, right? But it is not important. You must prioritize your time for important things. So number one, urgent. This thing tends to disturb you a lot. Okay, turn off the thing so that you can focus on more important things. Maybe you're talking to your wife. Don't want this disturbing you all the time. Maybe you're talking to your sintoas. You don't want this disturbing. Talking to your people in the church. You don't want this disturbing you, right? Those are more important, building those precious relationships. And at the end of the day, when you pulang, when you're, a few minutes, then you just check what are those things, right? So don't let this become your boss, chewing your time away. Secondly, a lot of us spend time on entertainment, right? We don't spend time on important, we spend time on entertainment. We go back, turn on the TV, and we just watch this show, Gempa Bumi in mana, jauh-jauh, South America, then there's a storm in Africa, and then there is riots in America. You watch, and then, alamak, 3 jam already gone already, time to tidur, right? Didn't read your Bible, didn't prepare your message, didn't have time with your children, didn't have time with your wife. The important things were all pushed away. Didn't have time to learn new skills, didn't have time to attend this seminar on the 5 habits because your time was stolen away. Okay, so let me just tell you this. You need to be aware of the danger of these thieves of your time. Ting, ting, ting. And then you pulang, there's a big box there that says, Come on, I want to steal your time on useless things that are worthless to you, whether there's a Gempa Bumi in South America, who cares? Whether the riots in America Donald Trump, who cares? My wife is sitting here, right? My Bible is standing in front of me. 2 days' time I have to preach, right? But it chews your time away. So can I tell you, there are thieves in your life. Don't allow the thieves to steal your life away. Okay, I'm not saying you cannot look at your cell phone. I'm not saying you cannot sometimes take a bit of relaxation. I'm not saying that. But a bit of it can end up with a lot of it. Okay, so can I encourage you to manage your time well? And the important things of life usually, right, are not so easy to focus on. Because, like building relationships with your wife. If you don't talk to her for 1 day, she's not going to walk out of your house. 2 days, she's not going to walk out of your house. If you don't take care of your health for 1 week, nothing is going to happen. You're not going to get a heart attack in 1 week's time. But over time, it will steal your life away one piece at a time. By the time you leave your church after 5 years, it's stolen your ministry away. The time of end of 50 years, it's stolen your marriage away. End of 50 years, stolen your life away, your health away, your relationships with your children away. Stolen by one little thing here and one box at home. Okay? Don't forget there are thieves very near you. 4, think win-win. Now, we tend to think win-lose because when we play like badminton, in a badminton match, one will win, one will lose. That's life. There's no 2 winners. At the end of the match, 1 winner only. 1 winner, 1 loser. So in life, we tend to think that way. If someone wins, I lose. But in life, very seldom is it win-lose. Often, it can be win-win. Let me give you an experiment to show how our mind is so understands things poorly. This experiment done in universities to show how poorly we understand win-win. A university student is given 1 juta rupiah, given by the university, part of the research, right? And with this 1 million juta, he is told this 1 million juta is yours. If you can successfully give part of it away to someone who is happy to take part of it. Like case, they got 1 million juta. If you give away 20% to someone, you keep the 80%. That's the rule of this experiment, done many, many, many times. So the university student has this 1 juta. He goes out on the road and he tells someone, sir, the university gave me 1 juta. I am asked to give this to someone, and if that person takes what I give him, that person can keep that and I can keep the remainder. Okay? So, sir, I plan to give you 200,000. And then the man will say, that is not fair. That is not fair. You have 800,000. I only have 200,000. But then the university student will explain and say, sir, you have 200,000 for nothing. If you don't take the 200,000, you get no. I get nothing too. Both of us lose. But you know what? Most people will say, I don't want your 200,000. Keep it. You see, because the people who were offered this free 200,000 had the idea that it's not fair. How come you get 800, I get 200, but this Bodo person doesn't realize if he rejects it, he gets nothing. Why complain? You get 200,000 for free. You can have a nice makan with your family. But people are so Bodo, they think if you get 800, I lose. You don't lose, you also win. You win less, he wins more, but both win. Now, most pendetas don't understand this. How do I know? I know I work with pendetas. They are smart people, but they behave the same way. You tell them a project. We want to do this project to help the churches. And they say, oh, the other church gets help more than me. I don't want to be part of this project. Or that church, this project, their members will benefit more because the church is big, they get more. My church is small, I get less from this project. Come on. Not fair. Bodoh pendeta. Because win-win doesn't mean to mean win-win exactly the same. In life, there is never exactly the same win-win. As long as you win and he wins, both win. Sometimes he wins more, sometimes you win more, but let's learn to live win-win. In all cooperation, in two parties, very rare, exactly 50%, 50%. Bodo, very rare. All right? And yet we are Bodo. Okay? So that is why many pendetas do not cooperate with others. Okay? They will find that its cooperation is not good because they get more on this project. All right? Okay? So they calculate 51%, I 49. Not fair. All right. Sometimes we don't think straight. Okay. Our sinful mind, all right, is not a smart mind. So in all cooperation, even with your wife, sometimes she's happier more in this project. She wants to go to Singapore more. Actually, you don't want to go to Singapore. You already been 3 times to Singapore. But if you go to Singapore, she's very happy and you're also quite happy, right? She's more happy than you, much more. You're less happy, but you're both happy. So it's a nice holiday, unless your mind is something wrong, okay? So think win-win. And lastly, the 5th habit is learn to listen to others and understand them before you talk, right? I notice a lot of people will start talking a lot first before trying to understand why the other person said this thing, why the other person did this thing. Go to a new church, try to understand the situation first. Maybe the Sintuas are not very cooperative because there was a situation. Learn to understand. Talk to them. Listen to their viewpoint. Oh, I see. You had few pendetas that were like this. Okay. Oh, that's why you think this way. Okay. Okay, that's why you're angry with me. Okay, that's why you suspect me. Okay, I understand. And you listen. It could be a Sintua, it could be a Eporus. Oh, why does Eporus do this? This. And pendetas would talk about why headquarters Kantor Pusat does this one. And then maybe there's a reason why they do it. Try to understand their situation first. See, matured people always want to know there's 2 sides. Like win-win, there's 2 sides. Sintuas are humans like me. Why are they behaving this way? Why is my wife so angry? Why is she behaving this way? Let me try to understand. Figure out what is going on. Ask questions. Listen before you give a lecture, before you give comments. Okay? And you will realize that often you're not 100% right. Okay? There is some truth, lots of truth in why people do certain things. And when you understand people, you become a successful person, a person who understands the world, understands sinful nature, understands things, is successful. All right? So these are 5 simple things. The first 3 are personal. How you respond. Are you proactive or reactive? What is the picture in your mind? A clear goal of your life, your ministry, your family. You have a clear goal. What would it be like in the future? Number 3, how do you manage your time? These are personal. What you do. The 4th and 5th are what you do with others. You realize if you cooperate, usually life is win-win. You compete, it's win-lose, and usually you lose. Right? And if you, number 5, learn to understand others, you will be a successful person. People will see you as smart, wise, a leader to be respected. Because if a leader doesn't know the facts, just talk, it's like a child. Children talk a lot, understand a little. Wise men understand a lot and talk less. Okay, so 5 simple habits that can turn your life. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. You have the knowledge now. Will you have the skill to do it? Will you have the desire to continue doing it until it becomes part of your life? May each of you be successful, highly successful people, highly successful penditas. God bless you.